Listen to me, I'm talking. I'm assuming you graduated from high school, right?
8th grade.
You went through 8th grade.
If there's evidence provided against me, I have a right to defend myself using that very same.
That wasn't the question I asked you.
That's
you do have a right to defend yourself, Mr. Raymer. I'm just
my right for violence.
I'm talking, you're not. If you don't stop talking and listen to me so I can go through my speech, I will send you over to the jail.
You're the one that signed the warrant for my arrest while I was in jail.
I don't know that. I don't remember.
Yes, you did do that.
Okay, I'm allowed to do that.
No, you violated my rights.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take any of the attorneys from here because they're all corrupt.
This is a date and time set for a final pretrial conference. Today was the motion deadline for both motions and motion in limines to be heard. Jury instructions were to be provided to the court by April 2nd, along with any proposed voir dire questions. We are set for trial on April 22nd.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are diving headfirst into one of the most bizarre courtroom standoffs you'll ever witness. From the jump, this man walks in with a mission: to challenge the entire legal system, not just his charges. He doesn't see himself as a defendant, but a sovereign entity. The judge is calm, but you can already feel the tension rising. This isn't your average day in court. It's going to get wild.
Of 2025. Mr. Raymer, you are charged with police officer resisting and obstructing causing injury, which carries a maximum penalty of up to 4 years in prison. Police officer assaulting, resisting, and obstructing, that carries up to 2 years in prison. There's 2 of those. And then there's a disorderly. And what is the plea offer in this file?
Your Honor, the people have offered to a plea of 2 counts to attempted R&O.
All right.
So 2 misdemeanors, and we would kill a brute to no upfront jail.
All right. Mr. Raymer, the plea offer in this case was to plead to 2 one-year misdemeanors with no upfront jail, and there'd be like 12 months or so of probation and some minimal fines and costs. Do you understand that? All right. Now, Mr. Raymer, you know, I'm assuming you graduated from high school, right?
8th grade.
You went through 8th grade, and this is a felony that could result in you going to.
All right, guys, things are heating up fast. The sovereign citizen doubles down, refusing to acknowledge the court's authority. He's not just interrupting, he's derailing the entire proceeding. The judge tries to bring it back on track, but this guy keeps tossing legal jargon like grenades. You can sense the patience wearing thin. It's courtroom chaos with a dash of conspiracy.
Prison. Why don't you stand in front of that podium for me? So do you understand an attorney can help guide you through the legal process?
Yes, I tried to have, I almost had a public defender. Unfortunately, she wasn't representing me appropriately. I'd asked for another one, but.
So I have no authority over who gets appointed. You're appointed an attorney.
I understand that, but when they're not representing you appropriately.
Okay, I didn't ask that. I'm just saying you have a right to an attorney. I know the attorney you're referring to. She's diligent. She works hard. Maybe you didn't like, I know when I was a public defender, sometimes my clients didn't like what listen to me, I'm talking. My clients didn't like the things that I told them, but you know, her job isn't to do what you want. Her job is to represent the law. So you understand at this point, you can hire an attorney, or you can go with the public defender and whoever they assign you, or you can go to trial pro per with no law.
Strap in. This part's a legal roller coaster. The sovereign citizen throws around phrases like common law jurisdiction and living man, as if that'll grant him immunity. The judge remains composed but firm, pushing back on every wild claim. You can practically feel the clash of ideologies. It's like watching 2 people argue in different languages, neither willing to yield.
No experience and risk going to prison. You're going to represent yourself.
I'm gonna represent I ain't got no choice but to represent.
Have you provided your jury question, the voir dire questions? Because if you haven't, they're waived.
If there's
no, they were due.
If there's evidence provided against me, I have a right to defend myself using that very same.
That wasn't the question I asked you.
That's
you do have a right to defend yourself, Mr. Raymer. I'm just
my right for violence.
I'm talking, you're not. If you don't stop talking and listen to me so I can go through my speech, you have not filed any motions. Jury instructions were due and voir dire questions were due. You have not provided those. We gave you a copy of this. So do you understand what I've received is what will be used? Yes or no?
I will be allowed to ask my questions.
What question?
When I'm cross-examining, I will get my.
I'm talking about juror question. I'm talking about jury instructions and voir dire questions. You understand now? You didn't file. Listen, I know, but you waived that because you have not provided them. Do you understand that?
Now we're entering the breaking point. The judge, visibly irritated, begins issuing direct warnings. Meanwhile, our self-proclaimed free man continues his crusade, citing obscure statutes and sovereign buzzwords. He thinks he's building a case, but to the court, it's just obstruction. The gavel hasn't dropped yet, but the tension, it's sky high.
You understand that?
No, I don't. I don't
Okay.
understand that. I didn't understand that.
Okay, well, I
That's why-
can't advise you of the law because I'm not an attorney, I'm a judge.
No, but you
So-
were looking at the case and you've been presiding over my case for 3 years now.
I know, it's fine,
You're the
you're
one-
gonna go to
You're the one
trial.
that signed the warrant for my arrest while I was in jail.
I don't know that, I don't
Yes,
remember.
you did do that.
Okay, I'm allowed to do that.
No, you violated my rights. as
Okay,
well.
well, you have options, you can file a complaint with the JTC if you'd like. So are you prepared to go to trial?
Absolutely.
Have you provided your witness list?
I haven't yet, but I will.
Okay, that was due.
My witness list was provided when, Ms. Underwood was my attorney,
Okay,
and my witness list is.
have you subpoenaed any witnesses that were not on the prosecutor's raised just eyewitness list?
Yes, my witnesses are the ones that was there at the scene.
No,
And,
do
yeah,
you understand that you have to provide a witness list?
Okay, here's where the power dynamic shifts. The judge isn't playing anymore. He's done with the back and forth and lays down the consequences. The sovereign citizen still refuses to stand down, but now it's not just verbal defiance, it's veering toward contempt. You can see this is no longer a quirky sideshow. It's becoming a serious legal standoff.
And you have to provide a copy to the prosecutor. Do you understand that?
prosecutor, I gotta provide what to him?
So if you're gonna have witnesses at trial, you need to make sure the prosecutor has their name and contact information so that they could interview them prior to trial if they wanted. Do you understand
Well,
that?
they got all that information.
They do?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
my witnesses are my parents and my aunt.
okay, I don't know. Are those on, if they're not on the people's witness?
Curtis, Penny,
Okay,
and Rose.
if you haven't provided a witness list and they're not on the people's list, you understand you won't be able to call them.
Okay, I will provide the information. I
Okay.
can provide that information. Yeah.
I'm just telling you. So you need to make sure that there's a witness list in the file that was provided to the people.
So I gotta re-provide it.
I don't know. Go back and look at what
I'll
witness
just-
list
I'll
has
just
been
do that
filed,
next week.
their name, their contact information. And then any subpoenas you have to do, if you have to subpoena anybody to be present, you need to get those filed this week.
This part is intense. The sovereign citizen tries to regain control by accusing the court of fraud and tyranny. But the judge doesn't flinch. He calls in backup. Court officers are now involved. The courtroom turns from a stage of argument into a scene of confrontation. This is the moment where words meet reality, and reality has handcuffs.
And then the court signs them and then you serve those people with those. Do you understand? Now, do you understand when we go to trial, a lot of times some of the questions you ask or he asks may be objected to, and it's not personal, it's just, we have to follow the law.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm allowed to object to though, right?
huh?
I'm allowed to object to.
You are, and then you have to provide the basis for that objection.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to understand your objections. So you might want to do some research to understand.
I've been doing.
Good, good. You sure you don't want a public defender for trial?
Huh?
You sure you don't want an attorney for trial?
As we approach the climax, the courtroom energy is electric. The sovereign citizen's rhetoric is louder, but his influence? Dwindling fast. The judge isn't. Moved by grand declarations, only the law. And at this point, law enforcement is ready to enforce. What started as a legal debate has spiraled into a clear case of defiance with legal consequences.
All right, the court will call the case of the Ranches of Rosebrook versus A Nice Battle, case number 25C-1245.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Fantair on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ms. Battle, please hit *6, unmute your device. And state
Hello? Hello?
Please state.
It's a niece battle on a special appearance for the record to contest the jurisdiction and the facts before this court.
Yep. All right. Well, Ms. Battle, I'll tell you that this matter is appropriately in the correct court. The court does have jurisdiction. We'll be
And
proceeding.
it's based on what? What is on the record that is based on that the court has jurisdiction?
The fact that this is a case that is within the jurisdiction of the Township of Ypsilanti, and if you have issues related to any contracts, that would be within this jurisdiction as well. So all of that is within the jurisdiction of this court.
So you're saying that the contract is in jurisdiction of the court?
That is what I just said, ma'am.
All right, and the contract has been rescinded. So how is the contract in the jurisdiction of the court if it's invalid?
Individual gets to rescind a contract on their own. That's
What are you talking about? I have the right to rescind a contract by right of common law.
Ms.
That
Battle,
doesn't involve court.
ma'am, you need to stop talking or you're gonna get held in contempt of court. Mr. Fantier, have you had a chance to talk to Ms. Battle? I talked to Ms.
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Mr. Fantera, do you need to speak with her or are we ready to?
If you want me to speak to her, I'll speak to her. You know, I mean, she talks about rescinding the contract. Does that mean she's moving out?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Are you moving out?
Are you moving out?
No. Why would I have to move out?
Because if you rescind a contract, okay, fine. Your Honor, I think let's set this for trial.
Okay. One moment.
This case has also been in the, it's in the circuit court. A petition filed for an injunction. I did serve you all. It is set on the 30th.
Yes, ma'am, I heard.
We're aware.
Okay. And once again, I do not submit to the jurisdiction of the court. The contract is rescinded.
So how can the
And I am
contract,
not a legal person.
you're not a legal
How
person?
can a contract?
Here's where it all comes crashing down. The sovereign citizen is removed from court and the judge reclaims control. It's a sobering reminder that courtroom theatrics won't save you from due process. The sovereign citizen may believe he's above the law, but the court just proved otherwise. If you found this breakdown gripping, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the YAI channel, and we'll see you in the next one.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask Ms. Battle a question, Your Honor, real quick?
Sure.
So Ms. Battle, so you can live there forever without paying rent because you're not a legal person?
That's not what I'm saying, but the contract itself is invalid. I'm saying that you don't have any personal or subject matter jurisdiction over me. Over an invalid contract, no. And over me not having the legal capacity to be sued, yes. So if that's how you want to take it, then that's how you have to take it. But that's what's lawful and that's what's written in the law.
Let me just tell you, I think you're wrong on both counts. I would expect that we would.
It's okay for you to think that I'm wrong, but the facts still align with what I'm saying.
Okay, Your Honor, I think we should have a trial.
You have to prove without the reasonable doubt. So let the record show that the judge has not required the plaintiff to prove without a reasonable doubt that I am a legal person, and it's on the record, not assumed, not presumed, on the record. There's nothing that's on the record that states.
Ms. Battle, first of all, reasonable doubt is a standard in a criminal case, not a civil case. So I do not have to prove anything beyond a reasonable doubt.
Sarah, I need both of you to stop talking, please. Both of you, I'm sorry. I cannot figure out the date because I can't hear over the two of you.
I apologize. I didn't know that's what you were doing, Your Honor.
This matter will be scheduled for May 6th at 3 p.m. for a trial on any and all issues that may be before the court. Ms. Battle, if you have anything else that you need to say, you can unmute yourself by hitting *6 to do that.
Okay, I just find it ironic that I got muted when I was speaking on jurisdiction and how there was a lack thereof on the record. So I want that to be on the record. But I also wanted to, okay, that's fine. And I also wanted to be on the record that I am not going to be able to show up on May the 6th. So it's also ironic that you are able to verify with him that he's able to show up, but not with myself.
I just asked you that, and you are now talking about something else. Why can't you do this?
That's because you cut me off and put me inside of a break room and muted my mic instead of allowing me to speak on what needs to be spoken on.